a registered osteopath. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new, welcome. Today I'd like to take you through a lower body stretch session. It's going to be perfect for a post-workout, maybe you've just done a heavy legs day, or if you just feel like you've got a little bit of tightness in your lower back or hips and you like to stretch it out. Have a go and let me know how you get on. Okay, so we're going to start standing and we're going to tuck our chin and roll down, flexing towards the floor, letting our backs bend. We can have soft knees at the moment and we're just going to repeat that a few times. So tuck the chin, roll down towards the floor, soft knees, and back up again. Doesn't matter if you can't reach the floor, just go as far as is comfortable for you. Reaching towards the floor. And again. Okay, we're going to hold this position now. Start to feel a bit of a stretch through the backs of our legs. Take it easy because we're going to do this a couple of times. Now you're going to come up to a halfway lift, so you want to straighten your lower back out, straighten your arms. You can have your hands on the floor if that's comfortable. I like to have my hands on my shins. You could be further up your leg if that's also more comfortable for you. Really feeling a stretch, and then you're going to relax and bend forwards again. And holding that there. And straighten the back again, straighten the legs. Again, I've got my hands on your shins, but you could be further up your leg or lower down towards the floor, depending on your flexibility. And then bend the arms and bend forwards, flexing the back again. If you want to challenge yourself, you can start to reach back towards behind your heels. If this is quite tricky, you could stay on your shins. Okay, walking the feet out into a bit of a downward dog, and we're just going to pedal the feet and start to get a small stretch through the calf. Good, keep pedaling. Maybe sit there for a little while if you find a point that's tight. Good. And now we're just going to hold that stretch. So find where it feels a little bit tight and really stretch into that calf. And the other side. Just holding that there. And again to the other side. Holding that stretch through the calf. And once more. Change sides. Calf should be feeling nice and loose now. Okay, onto all fours. We're going to step up onto one knee. Hands are going to frame our foot. I'll show you what this looks like from a different angle in a second. And then we're going to lean back and straighten that front leg and then bend forwards and into a nice loose lunge. So hands are framing my foot, leaning back, straightening that front leg. And then we're going to come forwards into a nice lunge, low lunge. We're going to repeat that movement a few times. Warm it up a bit. If you want to, you could have blocks to support you. That will make this exercise a little bit easier so that your hands don't need to reach the floor. And keep going forwards and backwards. You can keep the blocks if you prefer. We're just going to hold this stretch now. So if you want the blocks, you can keep them. I've decided to put them to the side. And you're just going to have a stretch through that front leg. So we're working on getting that front leg straight. And we're feeling a stretch through that front leg at the moment. Okay, and then we're going to come forward into a low lunge, knee relaxed onto the ground if you can, and we should be feeling a nice stretch through the hip of the leg that is behind us. So just go in, again you could have your hands on blocks for this if you needed to, that's fine. Just going to reduce the intensity of the stretch a little bit. Okay, and then back again. Think of sinking your bottom to the back heel and really stretching through that front leg, trying to get it straight if we can. Hands on blocks for this if you need to. Or if you'd like to get a deeper stretch, you can try walking your feet a bit further towards your front foot. Okay, get your balance in a kneeling position. And then we're just going to think about tucking the hips underneath us. And that should be enough to get a stretch through the front of that back leg and thigh. This is a great hip flexor stretch. So we're just posteriorly rotating our pelvis, tucking our hips underneath us, squeezing our glutes, and that's going to give us that nice stretch in the front. Okay, and then I'm going to take a block for balance. You can use something next to you, or a wall or a chair. And I'm just going to bring our back foot up, and that's going to give us a nice quad stretch. Just to show you how I got into that. So I've got a block at the side, and then I reach for my foot behind me, and then I'm just using the block for balance. If you've got good balance, you don't need to use anything, or you could, like I said, use a chair or a wall. I'm just going to hold that stretch. That's going to give us a nice quad stretch, open up the front of that hip. Okay, now we're going to come into a side body stretch. So we're going to reach over. I'll show you what this looks like from the front as well. So using the block to balance, I'd recommend having something to balance here. And then you want to get a nice stretch through that side body. It's a great stretch for the lower back and QL. I'm just going to hold that there. This was one of my favourite stretches. Good, holding that there. Okay. And now we're just going to repeat that sequence again. So we're going to tuck the hips underneath us, holding that position, posteriorly rotating our pelvis. So I'm just going to show you that again. So think of flattening your lower back, reducing the arch in your lower back. And you will feel it in the front of your hip. If you get it right, you'll know. Okay, and I'm going to use the block to balance again. And then we're going to lift our heel up and get that nice quad stretch again. In this as well, if you try and reduce the arch in your back, it's quite difficult. But try and tuck the hips underneath you a little bit. That's going to get those hip flexors as well, and also your rec fem, which is one of the quads that crosses your hip, as well as your knee. Good. And then we're going to do that nice side body stretch again. So reaching over, holding that position for a nice stretch through the side of the body. Feels great. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to come on to the other side now. So swap legs, find your balance on your knees, hands framing the foot again, and then we're going to start rocking forwards and backwards a little bit. Good, so rocking forwards and backwards, warming that up a little bit. Don't worry about pushing to your end range here. And then when it's comfortable, in a minute, we're going to start holding those stretches for a bit longer. A couple more. Okay, we're going to start holding the stretch here now. So get your hands in a comfortable position. One leg might be tighter than the other, so use a block if you need to. Or if it feels like you can, walk your hands a little bit further away to really deepen the stretch. Or if you want to, walk your hands a little bit closer to get closer to your body. That's going to lessen the stretch. Okay, and then bending the knee, coming into a nice low lunge, getting a nice stretch through the front of that hip. Again, hands on blocks if you need to. Holding that there. And then we're going to move back, holding that stretch again, sinking the bottom towards our back heel, really trying to get a stretch now through that front leg. Should feel it in the back of your front leg. Walking the hands forward if you're not feeling it too much, bringing the chest closer to the leg, or hands on blocks if you're feeling it a little bit too much. Good, and front of the hip again, so feeling it in the back leg, front of the hip. Really dropping those hips down towards the floor. Okay, find your balance in a kneeling position. We're going to start again by tucking that hip underneath us, posteriorly rotating our pelvis and feeling it right in the front of that hip. Should feel quite strong. It's not a big movement either, so don't feel like you have to make a huge adjustment. It's not a lot and you should start to feel the stretch straight away. Okay, and then grabbing a block, finding our balance and bringing that back heel up. This can be a bit sore on your knee, so feel free to get a little bit of extra padding. You can roll the yoga mat up underneath, so you have a couple of layers of mat underneath your knee, just for a bit of extra padding. Good, holding that stretch there. Okay, and I'm going to lean across using the block for balance. Getting a nice stretch into that side body again. Holding that there. Okay, good. Coming back to the middle. And again, we're going to posteriorly rotate the pelvis, tuck our bottom underneath us. It's like a pelvic tilt. You might have heard it described like that. And you should feel it in the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. Quite a strong stretch. If you don't feel it, you can start to lean forwards, but you really want to keep the pelvis tucked underneath you. For me, it's enough just to tuck my pelvis. I don't need to lean forwards. Okay, and then we're going to bring that heel up behind us. Like I said, if you don't have a block, you could use maybe a chair next to you or a ball. I do recommend something to balance with this. And then trying to keep the pelvis tucked underneath as we hold this stretch. Try not to let your back arch too much. And if you can't bring your heel all the way to your bottom, you could use a wall to put your foot against the wall, rather than using your hand to hold your heel up. Okay, and then we're going to come into that side body stretch again. Holding that one there. Such a great stretch. Good. Coming back onto our hands and knees. Shake it out if you need to. And we're going to come to a seated 90-90 position. So starting in a nice seated position, legs wide open, and then we're going to drop into a 90-degree angle in one leg and the other. Hope you can see that there. And then we're just going to start rocking from side to side. See the 90-90. Warm that position up a bit. If you can, try and keep your buttocks in contact with the floor. You can see one side of mine comes up a little bit. It's because one of my hips is a bit tighter than the other. We're going to start leaning down for a nice glute stretch now. If this is a bit strong for you, you can sit on a block or a couple of pillows. That's going to reduce the internal rotation and external rotation at your hips. So it's going to reduce the angles at your hips and make these stretches a little bit less strong. You want to try and get your hips square as you're leaning forwards, and just go forward as far as is comfortable. You don't have to go all the way down like I do. So keep swapping sides and then reaching down. Good. And last one. Reach down. Okay. There we go. And that is us done. Okay, that is all for my lower body stretch session, so I hope you found it useful. If you did, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment, let me know how you get on, and any requests, as always, send them to me on Instagram or in the comments below. Thanks very much guys, bye!